Hi, dear friends. Welcome back to our channel. Today I have essential English conversations, practical skills for everyday situations. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment. Let's get started. Greetings and introductions. I'm Amina. I love starting my day with a running in the park. It's my favorite way to wake up and feel energized. This morning, as I was making my rounds, I noticed a new face. He was stretching near a bench, looking like he was just about to start his workout. I decided to introduce myself. Good morning, I called out as I slowed down to a walk. He looked up and smiled. Good morning, he replied. I see you here often. I'm John, by the way. Nice to meet you, John. I'm Amina. Do you come here often? I asked, curious about the newcomer. Just started actually. I moved to the neighborhood last week, he explained. Welcome to the area. It's a great place to stay fit and meet new people, I said warmly. I've met some of my best friends here. Thanks. Maybe we can jog together sometime? John suggested, seeming genuinely interested. Sounds like a plan. I agreed. See you around. I waved and continued my jog, feeling good about meeting someone new. Over the next few weeks, John and I started running together regularly. We found that we had a lot in common. Both of us loved the outdoors, enjoyed trying out new fitness routines, and had a shared interest in cooking healthy meals. Our conversations during our jogs made the time fly by, and soon enough, we became good friends. One day, after a particularly exhausting run, we decided to take a break and sit by the lake. The morning sun reflected off the water, creating a serene atmosphere. Amina, I have to say, running with you has been one of the best parts of my day, John said, catching his breath. Same here, John. It's great to have a running buddy who pushes me to do better, I replied, smiling. You know, there's a charity run happening next month. I was thinking we could sign up for it together, John suggested. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Count me in, I said enthusiastically. As the weeks went by, we trained hard for the charity run. Our bond grew stronger, and I realized how much I looked forward to our runs and conversations. On the day of the event, we both felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The run was challenging, but we supported each other every step of the way, crossing the finish line together with a sense of accomplishment. Participating in the charity run was a rewarding experience, not just because we contributed to a good cause, but also because it marked the beginning of a wonderful friendship. Meeting John in the park that day turned out to be one of the best things that happened to me. Asking for directions. I was new in town and feeling a bit overwhelmed by the tall buildings and crowded streets. I was on my way to a job interview and realized I had no idea where Elm Street was. I spotted an elderly man who looked like he knew the area well. Gathering my courage, I approached him. Excuse me, sir, I said politely. Could you help me? I'm looking for Elm Street. The elderly man smiled kindly. Of course, my dear. Elm Street is just 2 blocks down this road. Turn left at the second traffic light, and you'll see it. Thank you so much, I said with relief. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. Good luck with whatever you're doing, the man said, tipping his hat. Thanks. Have a great day. I waved and hurried off, feeling a wave of gratitude. His directions were spot on, and I found Elm Street easily. I arrived at my interview on time, thanks to his help. After the interview, which went better than I had hoped, I couldn't help but think about the kind elderly man who had helped me. His warm demeanor and willingness to assist a stranger left a lasting impression on me. I decided to visit the same area the next day to see if I could thank him properly. The next morning, I returned to the busy street where I had met him. After a few minutes of searching, I saw him sitting on a bench, enjoying a cup of coffee. Hello again, sir, I greeted him, a big smile on my face. Ah, it's you. How did your interview go? He asked, recognizing me immediately. It went really well, thank you. I actually got the job, I said, beaming with pride. That's wonderful news. I'm glad I could help in a small way, he said, his eyes twinkling. I wanted to thank you properly. How about I buy you a cup of coffee? I offered. That sounds lovely, he replied. We walked to a nearby cafe and ordered our drinks. As we sipped our coffee, he introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, a retired teacher who had lived in the neighborhood for over 50 years. We talked about his teaching days, the changes in the city, and my new job. His stories were fascinating, and I felt a deep sense of gratitude for having met him. Over the following months, I often visited Mr. Thompson. He became a mentor and a dear friend, offering wisdom and advice whenever I needed it. His kindness and generosity made my transition to the new city much smoother, and I felt incredibly fortunate to have crossed paths with him that day. Ordering food at a restaurant. It had been a long week, and I wanted to celebrate my promotion with a nice meal. I decided to treat myself to dinner at Bella Italia, a cozy Italian restaurant I had heard good things about. As I entered, a waiter greeted me warmly and led me to a table by the window. Good evening, madam. Welcome to Bella Italia. Can I get you something to drink to start? The waiter asked. Yes, please. I'll have a glass of red wine, I replied, looking forward to unwinding. Excellent choice. Are you ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes? He inquired. I'm ready. I'll have the spaghetti carbonara, please, I said confidently. I had been craving it all day. Very good, madam. Would you like any appetizers or a side salad? The waiter asked. Yes, I'll take the garlic bread as well, I added, thinking it would be a perfect complement to my meal. Perfect. I'll be right back with your wine, the waiter said, noting down the order. As I waited for my meal, I reflected on my accomplishments and felt a sense of satisfaction. The food arrived quickly, and it was as delicious as I had hoped. It was the perfect way to celebrate my success. While enjoying my meal, I noticed a group of friends at the next table, celebrating a birthday. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and joy, making the evening even more special. After finishing my dinner, I decided to indulge in dessert. The waiter recommended the tiramisu, and I eagerly agreed. As I savored the rich flavors of the tiramisu, the waiter returned to check on me. "How's everything, madam?" he asked. "Absolutely fantastic. This tiramisu is the best I've ever had," I replied. "I'm glad to hear that. We take great pride in our desserts," he said with a smile. Before leaving, I asked the waiter for the chef's name so I could personally thank him. He told me Chef Antonio was in the kitchen, and I decided to stop by and express my gratitude. "Excuse me, Chef Antonio?" I called out as I entered the kitchen area. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" he replied, turning around. "I just wanted to thank you for the amazing meal. The spaghetti carbonara and tiramisu were incredible," I said. "Thank you so much. It means a lot to hear that from our guests," he said, looking pleased. With a full stomach and a happy heart, I left Bella Italia that night, feeling truly content. The delicious food, warm atmosphere, and friendly service made it an evening to remember. I knew I would be returning to Bella Italia again soon. Shopping and asking for prices. I love shopping at the local market. The fresh produce, the vibrant colors, and the friendly vendors make it a delightful experience. This morning, I was on the hunt for ingredients to make a special dinner. I walked through the stalls and stopped at one that had a beautiful display of fruits and vegetables. "Good morning," I greeted the vendor. "How much are these tomatoes?" "Good morning." "The tomatoes are $2 per pound," the vendor replied. "Great, I'll take 2 pounds, please." "And what about these apples?" I asked, pointing to a basket of red apples. "The apples are $3 per pound," the vendor said. "I'll take a pound of those as well." "Do you have any fresh basil?" I inquired. "Yes, we do. It's $1 for a bunch," the vendor answered. "Perfect, I'll take a bunch of basil too," I said, smiling. As the vendor packed my purchases, we chatted about the best recipes for tomatoes and basil. I walked away with a bag full of fresh produce and a head full of new ideas for my dinner. Shopping at the market always left me feeling inspired. Back home, I spread out my market finds on the kitchen counter and started planning my special dinner. I decided to make a classic Italian dish, caprese salad with the fresh tomatoes and basil, followed by a homemade apple pie for dessert. The aromas of fresh ingredients filled my kitchen as I prepared the meal. As I was chopping the tomatoes, I remembered the vendor's tips on making a perfect caprese salad. Always. Making appointments. I had been feeling under the weather for a few days, and decided it was time to see a doctor. I called my local clinic to make an appointment. "Good morning, Hillside Clinic. How can I help you?" the receptionist answered. "Hi, this is Amina Johnson. I'd like to make an appointment with Dr. Smith, I said. Sure, Amina. What seems to be the problem? The receptionist asked. I've been having a persistent cough and a bit of a fever, I explained. All right, let me check Dr. Smith's schedule. How about Thursday at 10 a.m., the receptionist suggested. Thursday at 10 works for me, I confirmed. Great. I've booked your appointment. Please bring your insurance card and arrive 10 minutes early, the receptionist advised. Thank you. I'll see you on Thursday, I said, feeling relieved. The receptionist's efficient manner put me at ease, and I felt better knowing I would soon get some medical advice. I made a note of the appointment and prepared to rest up until then. On Thursday morning, I woke up feeling even worse. I got dressed and made my way to the clinic, arriving a little before my appointment time. The waiting room was calm, with a few other patients sitting quietly. I checked in at the front desk, and the receptionist smiled warmly. Good morning, Amina. Dr. Smith will see you shortly. Please have a seat, she said. I took a seat and waited, trying to distract myself with a magazine. After a few minutes, a nurse called my name. Amina Johnson? Dr. Smith is ready for you, she said. I followed the nurse to an examination room, where she took my vital signs and asked a few preliminary questions about my symptoms. Shortly after, Dr. Smith entered the room. Good morning, Amina. I hear you're not feeling well, he said with a concerned look. Yes, I've had this persistent cough and a low-grade fever for the past few days, I explained. Dr. Smith listened to my chest with his stethoscope and examined my throat. It sounds like you might have a respiratory infection. I'm going to prescribe some antibiotics and recommend plenty of rest and fluids, he said. Thank you, Dr. Smith. I really appreciate it, I said, feeling grateful for his thorough examination. After receiving my prescription and some additional advice on how to manage my symptoms, I left the clinic and headed to the pharmacy to get my medication. The pharmacist was helpful and quickly filled my prescription, explaining the dosage and potential side effects. Over the next few days, I followed Dr. Smith's instructions and began to feel better. The antibiotics worked their magic, and my cough and fever gradually subsided. I was thankful for the prompt medical attention and the professional care I received at Hillside Clinic. A week later, I received a follow-up call from the clinic to check on my progress. Hi, Amina. This is the Hillside Clinic. We wanted to see how you're feeling after your visit with Dr. Smith, the receptionist said. I'm feeling much better, thank you. The medication worked, and my symptoms have improved significantly, I replied. That's great to hear. If you have any further concerns, please don't hesitate to call us, she said. Will do. Thanks again for all your help, I said, hanging up the phone. The experience reminded me of the importance of taking care of my health and seeking professional help when needed. It was comforting to know that the clinic was there to support me, and I felt reassured knowing I could rely on them in the future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story and found it inspiring, Please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment on my channel for more stories and tips on learning English. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to continue this adventure together. Have a good conversation.